today is the day. Today's the day. We're gonna pull Legacy into the garage and start tearing apart Bonnie and find out what happened to her. And for those that don't know, I name all my engines. That one's Bonnie. So today's the day. It's been about a month since something happened, and again, I have my suspicions, but today's the day. We're gonna pull it down and find out what happened. I mentioned how much I'd like to have a ramp truck. Feel bad, the old girl needs a bath, but now we're gonna pull the engine apart in Legacy and see what happened and get ready for Orangeburg with old faithful Betty White that saved our butt before. So we decided to go through and freshen her up. We've got everything to freshen her up with. But what I want to do is see how much of this that I can still use. I know I'll be able to use the intake, ignition, Lord willing, the heads. I don't think there's anything head related. So I think it's a rotating assembly issue. So hopefully we'll be able to use everything else. We're about to find out. So I'm gonna do this different than I normally do. Normally I just hook the engine hoist to it, snatch the motor out and go to town. But since I am gonna reuse pretty much everything on the top end of this, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the top end of the motor apart while it's sitting in the car. Use the car as an engine stand, basically. And we'll look at stuff as we take it apart and then jerk the short block out after that. And I'm pretty sure everything we're gonna find damaged is gonna be laying in the oil pan, taking a nap down there, just so we'll see. Just an old Holly, folks. So the teardown has started. I've got the valve covers off, carburetor off, wires off, rocker assembly off, and push rods out of that side. About to do the same thing to this side. Again, guys, there's some things I won't share what I do, some things I will. One thing is, you'll already notice these heads look a little funny if you know FEs, but I'm not about to show you the underneath of them, and I'm not about to tell you what I've done to these heads. The heads are one of the things that not a soul on earth but me and one other person will ever know what's done to these heads. The rest of the motor, I'll happily show you all the details, but the heads, that's all the information you get about the heads.
There you go. You need that for you?
No. Where did you think I was? Come out here and go, there you are.
Huh?
Where did you think I was? Come out here and go, there you are.
I didn't see you when I walked in. You must have been up on the...
I hadn't been on this car at all.
You must have been over here.
What time is it?
1 o'clock.
I may come up for a minute and fix me a sandwich or something for lunch.
Okay.
$45 years old, my mama still come check on me. ignore any extra silicone you may see. I'm not a big fan of leaks. As a matter of fact, I am the guy that they used to write fairy tales about. It was called The One Time a Man Built a FE and There Was No Leaks. Yeah, that was me. That was me. Well, there's the top end. Nothing is, I should say the intake is off. Top end is right there. Nothing out of the ordinary to see. A little dab of water you see back there come out of the intake. So, yeah, everything so far looks normal, which I would have expected it to. I don't expect to see any damage. I'll go ahead and pull the lifters out and make sure all the rollers still look good on them, and then we start diving deep into it. Yep, still looking good, still looking good. And what I'm looking at is to see if there's any scarring on any of these, if they're, kind of tore up any kind of way. See if they still roll smooth, and they do. Make sure there's no grit on them anywhere. Of course, I'm gonna plane them on. So. Just trust your eyes and trust your instincts. Trust your eyes. If you feel anything on them, any burrs, grit, or anything, if you're rolling it and it feels good, look at them, see if you see anything visually wrong. Just trust your instincts on them. So next thing I want to do is pull the spark plugs out. Now, I don't normally go in this order. Usually I just yank the motor out and be done with it. But what I'm trying to do is give you a good idea of how to go through the process to diagnose what may have failed in an engine. So now we're going to pull the spark plugs out. What we're looking for is any kind of deposit on the plugs to see if a piston scattered. And if a piston scattered or broke or blew a hole in a piston or whatever, there will be chunks of that piston, or there'll be deposits of that piston embedded inside the spark plug. So if all the spark plugs look good, then that means anything that happened has to have happened in the very bottom end of the motor. So let's take a look at that. Let's go ahead and start with number 1 over here. And again, I don't expect to find anything, but you never know, so it's always good to take a peek. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. We're going to pull it out and look at it at the same time. How's that sound? So there's no fudgery going on here. All right. Let's look at it. All right. We can tell by this plug a couple of, not in the camera. We can tell by this plug a couple things. Let me get a light so you can really see. We can tell by this plug a couple things. I gotta get up here. All right. First off, there's no chunks of aluminum or whatever your piston's made out of, but there's no chunks of piston, no debris of any kind down inside this plug, which is great. I can almost see my fuel range in there, and it's about right. All right, so we got the first 3 out of that side, cylinder 1, 2, and 3. Just wanted to take a quick second to show how consistent they look, how even they look. They all look fairly the same. The fuel line is all in about the same place. Yeah, all 8 plugs are out. All 8 plugs look pretty much identical. None of them had any piston material on them. So now we know that most likely we do not have a piston failure, which, if we're lucky, means we can save these pistons. I say if we're lucky, we can save these pistons for one reason. Those are actually not easy to come by pistons. Those are some Well, let's just leave it at those are hard to come by pistons. So hopefully we can save these pistons. And if we can save all 8 of these pistons, that's going to be huge for us because they may end up going in Betty White. We may make Betty White ornery in her old age. Woo! There we are. I didn't let you see to take the heads off because I told you nobody gets to see my heads. But there we are. All the pistons are still intact. All of them look good. None of them have any holes, chips that I can see right now. So I do believe, unless something happened to a skirt, I do believe that we're going to be able to save all of our pistons, which is nice. And none of them, I can't push any of them down, so it makes me think the rod's still connected. Because if I'd have lost a rod, you would think I'd be able to move one of these pistons. So now there's nothing we can do but snatch her out of there and see. I gotta fully admit here, gotta be transparent. I expected to reach over here and touch one of these pistons and it go shoop because it had the Bluetooth rod. They all feel solid. It actually just become a mystery to me. I have no idea. I have no idea now. I actually thought going into this I knew what was wrong with it. And I just imagined that it had self-installed one of the new Apple Bluetooth rods. And they're all there. I don't really have much to do this thing anymore. There is no holes in the block. Huh. It's going to be interesting to see what we find. Any guesses? So our clues. There's no damaged pistons that we can see. No holes in anything that we can see. Lifters all look good. No oil and coolant mixing. I don't know. What do you guys think? You can put it in the comments down there. This can be interactive, people. You can interact with me. It's okay. What do you think? I'm asking you. I'll wait. I'm going to sit down in a chair right here. I'm going to wait. Well, go ahead, put something in the comments. What do you think? I'm waiting. Shouldn't be in there. If anything, that shows me that it was a well-contained blast, because, well, the oil pan's still full of oil. So, yeah, we're just going to have to take a peek and see what happened. If you got any guesses. Alright, so it looks like it's one of those what came first, the chicken or the egg, but it appears that rod bolt failure. One right here. This one is a clean snap. Like it, these two pieces fit right back together perfect if I line them up. But up there, I think that's it. But anyway, it's a clean snap. Just snap right off. The other bolt over there, all the threads right here are gone. Like the nut just ripped right off of it. And before we get any crap about the bolts, I doubt you can see it on this camera, but these are all ARP bolts. That's one thing I do. I will use stock rods because I wholeheartedly believe in a factory FE rod, but I use ARP bolts, and this looks like a case of a bolt failure. I don't know what caused the bolt failure, but this is a clean, just snap. And the other one, the threads are all ripped off. So I'm thinking somehow the other one, the threads pulled clean off, and then the cap came around, and when it did, it just snapped this bolt off. That's my theory. So there you go. It looks like this is a case, from the best I can tell, of a rod bolt failure. Now, I'm not picking on ARP. It could have happened to anybody. I've been using ARP bolts forever, and this is the first time I've ever had a failure. I'm in no way picking on them. I'm going to go right back and get another set of ARP bolts. So that shows you how devastated I am by the findings, because I believe it was just one of those fluke things. But it does look like a case of a bolt failure. With one bolt broke cleanly, like it was snapped off, and the other bolt, all the threads were missing on it. It almost appears as though the nut stripped off one, and then the cap kind of rolled around and just snapped the other bolt. That's what I'm theorizing now. Now, there's 1,000,001 scenarios in which you could say led to the beginning of all this, and you'd probably right on every one of them. The fact is, without having a camera inside the motor, there's no possible way to know which came first, the chicken or the egg. But I have utmost faith in every other part of this engine, so I don't have any reason to believe. Of course, I had the faith in the ARP bolts. I don't have any reason to believe that they would have ever failed. It's just a fluke thing. Honestly, it could have happened to anybody, anywhere. It's just one of those things. It's part of racing. When you turn motors as hard as we turn them drag racing, as far as RPMs and all, I mean, things happen. It just is what it is. So now what I got to do is get this on a stand so I can finish getting everything off of it. I'm going to get the pistons and all out of it, because I want to inspect the pistons to make sure that underneath the pistons aren't hurt. And as long as they're not hurt, then we'll take a look at the crank too and see if the crank's hurt. As long as nothing is hurt, then there's a good chance Bonnie will live again. I thought for sure Bonnie was a dead woman when it first happened, but there's a chance she's going to live again. All right, so there's no way I was going to go in tonight and call it a night and not know if Bonnie had a chance to live again. So I had to do a teeny more bit of investigation. It looks like the corner of it right here is pushed down. So, but the head looks fine, so I don't know. But I'm not even worried about the piston, although these pistons were hard to come by, and I probably won't have another set like them again because I don't have the budget for them. I'm not upset about the pistons, and the pistons would not stop Bonnie from living again. But this will stop Bonnie from living again. That cylinder has a split in it from the top all the way to the bottom.
The fuck is that?
So what can I say? There goes the idea of a Bonnie and Clyde pair. Because Bonnie has left the building. Need to take a moment of silence for Bonnie. Well, bye. Well, at least now we know what we can use for Betty White. So we've got heads and intake, flywheel, carburetor, distributor. Yeah, cam. We got a cam. Pretty sure. I need to check on that. But yeah, I'm sure the cam's fine. So yeah, we've got a few parts for Betty White, but Bonnie is done. Thank y'all for watching. Please hit the like, the subscribe button, and please take a moment to share these videos with somebody you think might find them entertaining, educational, or freaking stupid. I don't care. Just whatever. But thank y'all for watching. God bless you. We'll see you next time.